All opinions are those of the participants making them and are not an endorsement of any position, program, religion, or political affiliation. DFG's Corner is for information, observation, and entertainment. I ask that you comment, like, share, and subscribe.
A bill in here. She's like, then I'm moving out. And I'm like, okay, bye.
Oh,
I
that
always
that
say that.
line,
I'm like, okay,
that
bye.
line, you got yeah. Well,
Exactly.
that's the thing. You can't go back on that. So
But
when you
I
say,
think,
okay, you got 90 days, you got 90
hmm
days, and there's a deadline to it, and in 90 days, she's got to either be packed up or splitting some bills. Listen, and then two is if she says, okay, I'll start paying rent to you guys, um, certain things there has to be certain agreements. Like I don't know if she has curfews or you expect her to be like while I
shouldn't even
lived at
leave
my
the house.
father's house after the
Right.
age of 18,
hmm
I was expected to be in that house by 1:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning. That was my
It,
time home. And
it was the same for me. Hmm
that was every night. It didn't matter if it was Friday. I was 21 years old. It didn't matter.
Yep.
I wasn't going to
Yep.
the clubs. I wasn't doing any of that. And then
Yep.
finally, I got to the point where I graduated, and I was getting ready to do my last, basically 90 days. I was working full time. I found full time employment, so I worked my way through college.
hmm
Um, it's a it's you gotta light that fire because it is enabling behavior that if what happens if something were and again I pray to God that nothing ever happens to you guys. But what if something does happen to you? Does her world just collapse because she's not prepared mentally for how hard this world hits? And like we all know, we can attest to it. Gen Z or millennials, Gen X, this world hits hard. When it beats you down, it don't stop. Um, and it takes grit, determination, and if you don't have it or it wasn't forced upon you, it's just how we get into bad situations.
Right.
And again, I don't wish any of that on anybody. I've seen through my own, I guess, lenses of friends who've had parents who just, oh, we hands off, stay home. We'll let you do what you want, when you want, how you want. And I look at their lives and then I look at the envy they show towards even myself. And I'm like, I've worked so hard for all of this, and you were better off than I was. You had both parents. You had the nice Mercedes in high school. You had the Air Force Ones, and now you're dead broke, bumming money off MLS schemes. So it's
Sometimes when you're growing up, you don't learn or you don't learn to appreciate what you have until you don't have it. But if you teach your children at an early age, they will appreciate from day one. You know what I'm saying? Because, like for instance, you said when people baby their children or give them everything that they ask for. When they get older, God forbid there was something to happen to us and we could not help them any longer. Will they be able to survive? That's what we should be thinking as parents, that can you handle yourself if I'm not around? Can you handle yourself on your own? Do you know how to get out of certain situations?
Right.
That's what we should be teaching our children. So when they become adults, because my kids, I didn't give them everything. Granted, they didn't need anything because I provided what I needed to in the household, well, according to my income. But they never went without. Put it that way. They wanted something. They eventually got it, but they had to work for it. Remember back in the day that a lot of people don't do that now. That you got allowances.
I get one
When
of
you got
those.
them, yeah.
So
We didn't have that in my household, but I heard about it with friends. But
Did those exist?
you
What
got
was an
the
We
allowance
allowance?
were
because
we
you
were
did.
allowed to live in their house and eat their food.
so but what I will say I did tell you about my oldest and how she is, right? But on the other hand, I do have to say this. So what we have, so she doesn't pay rent, like I told you, right? But let me tell you something. Remember I said I had a 12-year-old, right? So I commute like an hour and something to work, right? So if my 12-year-old has an orthodontics appointment, guess who I'm calling? I'm calling the daughter who's living in my house for
Yeah.
free. I need
Yeah.
you to
So there's
go get your sister
contribution.
out of school. So it is, but it's not necessarily that but now, like since we have her and the middle one is in high school, is in college now, like we go on trips. Like we just came back from a trip from El Salvador, you know? And so at one point she did say, she's like, you guys must think you have a babysitter. And I'm like, oh, we do. Like you live here for free. Like it
Yeah,
is
dang
your
right.
job to
Dang
teach the
right.
student.
And
Tell her what she
that's
needs to
that's
do.
called bartering. That's called bartering.
Boom,
So
boom,
in order to
exactly.
live in your household, you barter with her. You got to
Boom.
take your
It's no
sister wherever I tell you to
negotiation.
take her when
You
I
just
need you to take her.
exactly. You got it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you
Yep.
want to scare her and
And so
show her
we
how good
do.
she truly got it, take
And
her
we
on
did.
Zillow.
On what?
Well,
If you want to truly scare her on, like she said, oh, do you think you have a big? Show her on Zillow. Okay,
Oh yeah,
where do
I have.
like
Exactly.
we're in Florida. We're in Florida. I don't know New York
No.
real estate.
Listen, we
Florida
live
real
in
estate.
Northern Virginia, which is
Okay.
ridiculous. So you know,
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
we're $2,800 for 3 bedroom, 2 bathrooms. Um,
Listen,
I,
you can
go
rent a
ahead.
1 bedroom here for 1,900 a month, and that's rent alone. It is bad in
Mhm.
Northern Virginia. So
Oh yeah,
she realizes how good she has it living
oh,
here.
she
Like,
put that
ooh,
that's
yeah.
square feet is at 1,900.
A
that's
one
probably
bedroom you can get for
800.
1,900 a month.
Yeah, that's probably
It's
800
crazy.
square feet.
Do
See?
you see that? You ever see a meme? It's a meme where the little girl get into the car and she just got her first paycheck.
I
And
seen
Oh
it.
she was
yeah, I
just
saw that.
happy. And she didn't, she's so happy. And she opened up the check when she got in the car to tell her mama she balling. She ain't got to worry about eating your food. I can order my own
Right.
food and this, that, and the other, right? She opened it up and she got a reality check.
Right.
Yeah, she
Back
like,
in the
who
day, they used to
FICA?
see
Who FICA? I want to fight them.
I remember that one. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I ain't paid. I don't know nobody named FICA.
Right.
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 And it's just the fact that, like he said, you show him Zillow or what's the apartments.com
Yes.
and realize, okay, you only paying for toilet paper and you can't even do that right.
Boom.
Or
Versus when you
babysitting.
on your own, you have to pay more than just toilet paper. You would wish, there's another meme where there's grown folks come back home with their suitcase, ringing
Oh
the
yeah.
doorbell, saying, "Please just come
Listen,
Can I
I
come back?
being an
I can
adult
stay
is
in a
too
child's
hard."
place.
right. I send her to the store with a list of things, and I dare her to come back and ask me to pay the money. You hear me? I dare her. So when she comes back, there's no like I'm not reimbursing you for not a darn thing up in this house
Yeah.
because you eat every grocery that I
Let
provide, and if I
me
send
tell
you
you something. I made my oldest son, when he finally did, he asked me to come back. Actually, I think he kind of slid back in and I just didn't say nothing. But when my uncle died, we had to go get him from Greenville, whatever it was. And when he came, I told him he had to find a ride to get back to Greenville because I wasn't going back to Greenville, so he had to figure it out. Guess what? He figured it out till he got married.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, but I made him pay rent. And when it was time to pay rent, I didn't want no excuses. There was no excuses. When he was late, you had to pay rent fee.
Right.
That's what you got to do in real life. You have to teach your children. You cannot enable them to say, "Oh, I'll handle it," or "You can pay next time," or "Don't worry." No. When you get out there in the real world, this is the real world situation. When you say, "No, I'll handle it," no, I do what you can. And when you can't and you're at the last resort, then come to me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It teaches them how to figure it out. This is
That's true.
how I can say it. It teaches them how to figure it out. Because guess what? Kim, as a single mother, you had to figure it out.
Yep, I sure did.
How you say, son? As a married you got a two-parent household, y'all still had to figure it out. Because
Yes.
you ain't those whatever figures when you started out. So you had to
You're
figure
right.
it out.
Yeah.
So you that's my fiance, ignore him. But you still have to figure it out. My sister, Apple, she was a single parent. And not only was she a single parent to her children, but she wound up being a single parent to our baby sister as well as my baby sister's children. We all took turns taking care of her, but it's just the fact that we had to figure it out because my mother didn't have the resources to help us.
And I'm tired. You hear me? Tired.
She's still coming back home. Don't come back home. It's just hard. It's hard. So, but if we teach them, even though my children right now, I'm in that mood to F them kids, I still raise them, not necessarily a hard life, but to know you can't get everything for free. Amen. You can always depend on mama because mama is not going to always be there. And if I am, I may not have the resources to assist you. So you have to figure it out, just like I did. Because when I had my first child, my aunt said, you need to find you a place to go. And even though I had my apartment before I had my first child. I had an apartment right before I had my first child. And that's because my aunt said she ain't taking care of nobody's children. So I had to figure it out. I was going to school in college, but guess what? College had to stop because I had to figure it out. I had a child to take care of. So when if you don't enable your child and you allow them to grow up, they're going to be good citizens. Yeah. I truly believe that. They're going to be good citizens because they know how to work hard. They know how to work for what they got and not take. There are sometimes there are people who will constantly give their children. And because when it gets to the point where you can no longer give, guess what they wind up doing? A lot of them wind up taking it because that's what they want and they don't want to work hard for it. And if anybody disagree with me, let me know. But that's what happens to a lot of people in this world when you make things easy for everybody. And that's what's happening now with this youth now, is they think that they're entitled to this world and they can get what they want when they want and how they want it. And if they don't, hell's going to break loose.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Yeah, but there's I guess the difference too, though, is what is help? Like, how would we define help versus how we define enabling? And Pearl and I talked about this.
I can give you a
a
difference
little.
on that.
Oh yeah.